Lesson 109, Advanced Trinomial Factoring. Up until now, when we have factored trinomials, we have dealt with simple trinomials where x does not have a coefficient, or x squared does not have a coefficient. And that makes it really easy for us to look at this factor, the factors for this number, and combine them in order to get this number. So, for instance, we would have x times x, and then we know that for 6 we would have a -3 and a +2, because when we combine -3 and +2, we have a -1 left behind. And that's how we would get this trinomial, by factoring into these two binomials. Now, however, we're going to start looking at some trinomials that have coefficients with x, with the x square, I mean. So we have to take that into consideration when we calculate when we factor out, because we're going to have to calculate the middle number based on the coefficient of the x as well. So let me give you an example. Let's go ahead and do 109.1, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So in this instance, we have -7x minus 15 plus 2x squared. So the first thing we need to do is write this in descending order. So we have 2x squared minus 7x minus 15. Now everything is in the proper order, and we can begin to factor. So the only way to get 2x squared is to multiply 2x times x. Well, we could say 2 times x squared, but that defeats the purpose of having a binomial. We want to separate the x's, right? Because we don't have any other x squared terms within our trinomial. So we have to separate the x's. Now, however, we have to look at our third term, which is a -15, and we have to compare it to our first term and our second term to combine and give us our middle term. So what we are going to do is we're going to, again, list the terms for -15, or the factors for -15, and the factors for -15 are -15 and +1, +1 and -15. Okay, -3 and +5, +5 and -5 and +3. There we go. Those are all of the factors of -15. Those are all the pairs that we could use. But now we have to multiply one of them by 2 and then combine it to get -7. So why don't we just go down the line and see what we get? So if we doubled, and what? I did the same thing here, didn't I? This should have been a -1, +15. All right, so from looking at this, it looks like the middle term is negative. So that tells me that probably the negative is the one that is doubled. That would be my best guess, but let's try it and see. All right, so if we said 2 times -15, we would have -30 and a +1. That gives us -29. So that's not it. Right? So if we said -2, if we said 2 times -1, we would have -2 and a +15. And that would give us a +13. So that's not it. Okay, so if we said 2 times -3, that would give us a -6 and a +5, which would leave us a -1. So that's not it. Now, if we said 2 times -5, we would get a -10 combined with a +3, which would give us a -7. So this is our pair. So we want to multiply the 2 times the -5. And in order to do that, we have to put the -5 here. because that's what's going to be times the negative 5. If we put the negative 5 here, the 2 will never multiply it. So this will be the positive 3, and this will be the negative 5. And we can check that and make sure. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times negative 5 is negative 10x. 3 times x is positive 3x. And 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. So when these two are combined, we get a negative 7x. So this is correct. Okay, so let's do another one. Let's do 109.2. So we're going to factor 3x squared minus x minus 2. All right, so now we are going to put up our parentheses like normal, and we're going to write 3 and the x and another x. And the reason we do that is because there are no other x squares in this trinomial. So we know that the x's will stand alone. So our only other option is 3x and x. Now let's find the factors for negative 2. We have negative 1, positive 2. We have negative 2, positive 1. All right, let's see which one we need to multiply times 3. So if we said 3 times negative 1, we would have negative 3 and a positive 2, which would give us a negative 1. If we said 3 times negative 2, we'd have negative 6 and a positive 1, which would give us a negative 5. So it is not this one, it is this one. So the 3 has to be multiplied times the negative 1, so it goes here. So that the 3 will multiply that. And then the positive 2 goes here. And now we'll check it. 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times negative 1 is negative 3x. Positive 2x times, or positive 2 times x is positive 2x. And positive 2 times negative 1 is a negative 2. So when these two are combined, we have a negative x, which is correct in our original trinomial. So this factorization is correct. All right, we have one more, and that's it. 109.3. So we are going to factor 5x squared minus 13x minus 6. So let's start with our parentheses. 5x and x. Now let's look at negative 6. What are the factors of negative 6? We have negative 6 and 1, negative 1 and 6, negative 2 and 3, negative 3 and 2. So we need to multiply something by 5 in order to, and then combine it so that we can get a negative 13 is what we're looking for. Okay, so let's start at the top. 5 times negative 6 is going to be negative 30 and a positive 1. That's going to be 29. That's not it. All right, 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. And that's a positive 6. It's going to be a positive 1. That's not it. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. Positive 3. That's 7. So that's not it. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. And you have a positive 2. That's negative 13. So it's this pair. And we have to put the negative 3 where it will be multiplied by the 5. So the negative 3 goes here, and the positive 2 goes here. And now we check it. Always check it just to make sure. 5x times x is 5x squared. 5x times negative 3 is negative 15x. Positive 2 times x is going to be a positive 2x. And positive 2 times negative 3 is a negative 6. Notice how I shifted that down. You can do that if you want to. You don't have to. You can write it out in long form and combine it. This is just a different way to do it. If you like to stack, that's fine. It is just up to you. So when combined, these two make negative 13x, which matches up here. So this factorization is correct. Okay? That's all I have for lesson 109. We are done. So I will see you in lesson 110.